Joining me today are a host of people at the table. We've got, first of all, a co-host for today's presentation on local area marketing, editor and publisher of eMarketer's Media Properties. At the far end of the table, Ezra Palmer.
Hey Marcus, thanks for having me.
Pleasure. We've also got here Ted Lesher, Managing Director at Brand Maker. Welcome.
Thank you.
And we're also joined by Catherine Joseph, Senior Manager of Global Marketing Solutions at Mariott International.
Hello.
So Ted's background spans software sales and sales management in technologies like product lifecycle management, business process automation, and more. And Catherine works closely with global brand leaders and regional teams to ensure new brand programs and local marketing communications are on brand and locally relevant.
Really, it's about putting contextually relevant content in front of local audiences, and that can be a real challenge depending on the headcount you have and the resources you have to produce that content. Right. Whether you're a local marketer or a salesperson, addressing a client with more contextually relevant content is always more effective in driving revenue. So we approach it from a technology background, but we also are an international company, and so we have that same challenge. We have multiple languages to serve, cultures to serve, and people with different needs from a business perspective. So putting one boilerplate piece of content out to serve all those markets doesn't work for us. Mm-hmm.
Catherine, does Mariott use that phrase local area marketing to speak specifically to your areas of responsibility?
We call it local marketing.
Yep.
But it is fundamentally what we do across the board. Mm-hmm. So at Mariott, we have 30 brands, 130 countries, 20 plus languages, mm-hmm. and it is about a lifestyle. When you're selecting a hotel, you are expecting a certain experience. So it's an opportunity with a system like this to take those strategies and visions of what that experience should be from a corporate office and put it on the corner block. Mm-hmm. Right. And have it, the guest has a consistent experience across the board, whether they're in Shanghai or Abu Dhabi right. or San Diego. Right. But it's also a great value for the hotel owner. What this platform really does for us is enable the associates at the hotel to customize these materials for their audience without having to go to an agency.
Mm-hmm. And Ted mentioned this earlier. I'm curious to know to what extent you feel like you're working with sales personnel at the other end of that, wherever the other end of the pipe is, or whether you're dealing with marketing departments, or I imagine it's actually a mix depending on the size of the brand and the size of the local market.
And so that's an interesting evolution
yep.
that we've gone through. We started purely with marketing and sales. Mm-hmm. Sales flyers for a local promotion, a sales brochure for putting in the local tourist attraction.
Right.
But really, with how much digital advertising has evolved, email customization, that view has changed. And then we've also grown it dynamically into the operations of the hotel. If there's an event at the hotel and you want directional signage to, the yep. college reunion is over this way, or the bachelorette party is over here.
It gets that granular. That's amazing. Right.
Yeah, we can really make it a consistent experience, which some of our brands take, like a W or a Westin. Mm-hmm. If they are highly designed brands, and if any part of that is a little bit off, it changes your perception as a guest, and your experience becomes a little bit off.
Right.
Where the more consistent we can be, the more seamless it gets to be for that guest, and so it can be truly an experience mm-hmm. instead of an exception.
And you mentioned this is even in a conversation before this recording began, that it even has extended to the extent of thinking about menus and that, at that operational level. But is that something that you have needed to get customized work from, or is it that the platform just carried across and it happened to be something that was reasonable to work with through it?
And it's the beauty of the system is it is so easy and so cost effective for us to load materials in. And as we were showcasing this out to all of our different hotels and owners and executors on premise, the marketing team was fantastic about it, but the operations team might come in and be like, that's great, they already have people who can do this. I don't have anybody. I'm wearing 37 hats,
Right.
and I need an easy solution.
Right.
And Brandmaker has been a great partner in making that solution easy for us, but even easier for our end user. So we've always had templates and guidelines for the hotels and associates to use, but why we implemented a technology solution is we now get a 360 view. Typically, as marketers, we'll develop a beautiful campaign and kind of let it roll out there and hope that everyone uses it. Hopefully it works. And what this gives us is accountability and a very practical implementation of what's being used, how is it being used. And it's been thoroughly interesting to see the evolution of how that takes place, that we've been able to have our brand leads work differently as they develop new campaigns. They're not developing the same collection of assets that we were even 5 years ago, because we now understand better the global needs, how it's being used, and we can also act much quicker when we see someone who might not be following the rules and going off, because we have a real-time dashboard on the back end of what's being used where and how. So we can add course correction immediately. And that's what this platform allows us to give them, that freedom to test things out, and then a real wide open door for communication back and forth when it needs to adjust or shift. And so many of our hotels have come back to us and said, this brochure you designed is great and all, but it's missing these 7 other things. And so we become smarter in helping them.
Is that just a happy benefit, or are you able to measure that and then structure that into how you measure the success of work on the platform, in terms of selling it within the organization?
So what we try to do is, yes, we meet regularly with our brand leads who kind of own or invest in the platform, and then we stretch it as wide as we can. And the goal is in the field, that they're in the system often and so deep and wide that they get many uses out of it. Because the truth is, we're all selling something no matter what it is. And when you package it in a prettier way, it's easier to digest. But I think what everyone wants and what the system has delivered for us is it lets us be user-centric. So too many times in these big global companies, we are big corporate shoving things down. And what we've done with this platform is we've turned it to make it focused to them. So when they log in, it's their stuff, and they see what's new and what's relevant there. And that's been a key for us, is not only has Brandmaker continued to evolve the system and its capabilities, we've been able to load in that new content, so it's always fresh. It always feels like a good experience.